Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing?
Good morning.
We stayed in the hotel and partied last night. All right, you guys are diehard because everyone else apparently is still hungover. So I'm going to make sure I crank up the audio when they get in here. Heard me present. Okay, so we'll get started. We got started a little late. We had some issues actually getting into the rooms, and that we had issues getting everything set up. So thank you for sticking with us. We appreciate that. So Outerz0ne 08, we're actually doing the intro and my talk are both in the same kind of thing, and I might as well just leave me on stage. So the history and the legend. Welcome. Thanks for coming out. I appreciate you making the effort to either come across this tape or, really when you get down to it, you may have just rolled out of bed, thrown on a t-shirt, and drove it across town. We appreciate that too, definitely. So, a quick review of the staff. I'm not sure who this guy is. I don't think I fucked with him. But that being said, I'm SkyDog. I'm the one who's responsible for this, I think. In many different aspects or versions of being responsible, hopefully not the legal version after the party.
I thought that was decode.
That was decode? That's actually funny because I'm growing, the beard now is longer than that picture. That's at DEF CON last year, but I'm growing my goon beard out. So all what we refer to as the meat wall, all the big guys, have short hair and long beards. So you don't want the wall of meat coming at you. This is Mrs. SkyDog. Can we have a round of applause, please? He's going to kill me for using that picture. But anyway, Mrs. SkyDog is probably a lot more responsible. I think it's channel 1 or channel 3 if you want to knock that down a little bit. Very bottom dial. Ms. SkyDog is responsible for the majority of this happening because she badgered me into getting things done when I was off playing around and doing other things. So definitely going to, there we go. We have some Ninja Master. He actually came down with a fever. It was 102.1 when he left the room last night. So I'm hoping he's okay today. But it's entirely possible he may be down for the count. His girlfriend was with him, and I really like the MP5 there. I think he's got his work cut out for him if he pisses her off. She's currently taking care of him right now, but if they do make it back out, make sure you say, hey, just wanted to embarrass the shit out of him. Isn't it so cute, everybody in there? Cute. And a couple that shoots together, stays together. So. He is normally the most armed person I'm standing around, which makes me uncomfortable in some ways, and safe in others. Mudflap, you guys have probably met Mudflap before if you've been here before. He is going to be here a little bit later. He's actually sitting in a shopping cart chair that he made at our hackerspace. This has got to be the most natural pose for him, kick back and relax with a beer in his hand and a pair of kicks on him. Also, he's a sweet guy. He's a little bit of mentoring there with some of the kids that came by the HC before. Mad Max. He is currently now freaking out because he's doing the video, and he just stepped into the room on that one. This actually was kind of a joke photograph. This was us eating at a Vietnamese place in Washington, D.C. He's very much the foodie. So whenever we show up in town, we say, find us something good to eat. And he does an absolutely wonderful job of doing so. It's kind of a goofy picture. The orange shirt is a joke because he's always wearing that shirt when we get a picture of him. Although I know he wears other things because here he is at G1st, standing in front of a crowd of people actually dressed in a very professional manner. This character, you guys have seen him before. This is Scott Moulton. We call him Little Scotty Moulton. His handle has been Bite Assassin for years. And the funny part that goes along with Scott is Scott has become one of the principals, primary people who helps put this thing on. I've talked to him for many, many years. We discussed doing a conference. He wanted to do one Monday through Friday. I wanted to do one on the weekend. And for some reason, we're doing it on the weekend. I don't know why. I think it was because I
made a class that goes Monday through Friday.
Well, yeah. You made something that was profitable, and I didn't. So, but that's okay, Scott. I'm going to get you back. So, you see Scott here. This is actually with Patrick Norton on TV, whatever the TV thing that he does, the screen or the broadcast he does. And then we have Scott. I believe this is actually at ShmooCon one year. You'll notice that he's wearing the forensic unit hat, which he is famous for. If he takes it off, have you got it on? Yeah, take your hat off. You know who that is right there? No one knows. In fact, if he stands up in a crowd to dispute you when you're talking about hard drives and he doesn't have that hat on, you might actually think he's, just some average schmo instead of one of the leading authorities on it. He also wears that hat when he's wearing a tie. I've yet to figure out how those two go together, but pretty much he's got to have that hat on everywhere. And I think I'm correct on this one. Here we go. Another tie, suit coat, and the hat. And I think I know who that is you're talking to. Who knows who that is? The guy to the left of the goober in the baseball hat.
He looks old enough to be John Draper.
No, I got a picture of him.
John Draper is not.
Does anybody know?
This guy has a lot better reputation.
Does anybody know? That's Clifford Stoll, correct?
Yes, Clifford Stoll, the guy who wrote Cuckoo's Egg.
Yeah, he was an astronomer that turned into
He's your first hacker.
Yeah, he actually found a German hacker they referred to as Jaeger that he found a 50-cent error in the accounting system for the university he worked for, and then spent like a year tracking down this hacker in Germany. And he wrote an absolutely excellent book about what he had to go through. Of course, from the standpoint of his methodology was based in what science that he was used to doing. So I'm jealous of you to actually, you got to stand there and talk to him. He's an interesting character.
At one time, his book was the only book that has ever been, or was published at, about the same time as that one called Hackers.
Yeah, Stephen Levy's book, Hackers.
Stephen Levy's Hackers, like about the same time.
The one that I found before that was Out of the Inner Circle by Bill Landreth. And I actually read that when I was a young guy. They actually had paper in print when I was younger. So. Do what?
Didn't he write Cuckoo's Egg?
Yeah. That story is called The Cuckoo's Egg. And if you look online, he's been on TED and things like that. He's very frenetic, always bouncing around. It's like ski boy. But anyway, if you get a chance, check some of this stuff out. Really nice guy. I'm jealous of Scott for getting to meet him. We have Iron Geek. So Iron Geek sent me nothing until I begged him to send me the artwork for his mascot, which came in wonderful high resolution. But the trouble is, the trouble is to find a picture of this guy online. Everything is thumbnail sized, even in every web page is thumbnail sized. So that's why the blown up picture is nice and pixelated like that. But I just put that up there to kind of mess with him. You see the gentleman in the back who's relaxed, t-shirt, everything, but you have this absolutely dapper, looking good kind of guy there. Those are the same people. We did have it checked out forensically. So Iron Geek has helped put the video system together. I did the hardware end of it, this nice little rack of equipment and TVs and everything. Iron Geek put together the system referred to as SynchroView. That's actually a copyrighted term, blah, 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 and I'm not using that, so I get sued. But the general idea is to have the presentation large, the person that's doing the talk in a smaller window, and then a little tile in the bottom. Normally to buy one of those systems is $100,000. He did it for what, free? I think is what the price tag on it's free at this point.
Free.
Yeah. So he has single-handedly changed how a lot of conferences actually do their video by writing some scripting and doing some things with API Sense. So give him another round of applause. I don't have $100,000, but I've got some great videos. Everybody, this is CP. CP will be on at about 2 o'clock because he's probably hurting right now. It's a picture of him at Nauticon like a week or so ago. I got onto the Nauticon radio with him, and he was, I think the term is hammered. And so there's another couple of pictures to go with this that might come out later on. But CP is our director of partying. If you went to the party last night, good times.
CP last night. You asked me how we ever spent our time together. I said, because I don't drink.
There you go. What do you want to do? Drink? Oh, man. Oh, man. Yeah, he actually said, I got a present for you. And I was like, well, I'm actually doing some work on my presentation, things like that. Something tells me that the present I'll get tonight is probably alcohol related. If it's not a bottle of alcohol, it's something you put alcohol in and then consume it. So housekeeping items. Let's see. Just in here. All right, bathrooms. So bathrooms are located down the hall to the left. If you go down, there's the ice maker and stuff like there's men and women's. If you're not sure which one you're supposed to go in, Carlo will help you with that. But it's a single seater, so enjoy that. What can I say? T-shirt sales. So T-shirts will go on sale at 10 o'clock. They're limited in number. I think we did 50 of them this year. Registration and T-shirt sales are going to close at 4 o'clock, and the reason is normally if we leave everything open at the end of the con, it takes like 6 of us an hour to shuffle everything into boxes and get it out of the room. So we thought we'll close it at 4. We'll still have some shirts and stuff up here if somebody needs something, but just so we actually get to go to the party and have a good time, we're going to shut the registration down at 4. The T-shirts themselves, we actually had a problem. The reason they're kind of limited, I had a guy in Nashville who was supposed to print them, and unfortunately, he got an order in that he was working on that had like a 3-week time span it's going to take for him to do it, and he had to meet a deadline. So I said, hey, how's it going? Got the artwork, can you give me my T-shirts? And he said, man, I can't do it. So Miss SkyDog scrambled on that one and got a place here in Atlanta to print the shirts. We went and picked them up yesterday, and they look great. They were great to work with. In fact, the guy who owns the joint will probably come by later on. He was very impressed with it. Huh?
You'll have a VIP badge.
Yes. Well, and he's also larger than I am, and I think a football player. So he might be easy to pick out in this crowd.
What's his company name?
Do what?
What's his company name?
What is his company name? It was. What was the name of the company? Grenade.
I like the name.
Yeah, it was Grenade something or another. His name is Leonard. Really good fellow. Well, I know we've got his card somewhere. But he'll come out a little bit later. He was very interested in checking us out. Dinner sign-ups. So who's been here before and gone to Malone's? We scare the absolute shit out of those people when we walk in the door, and there's like 30 people, and we go, hi, we're here to eat. So I think last year we called them the day of and said, hey, we're coming out to eat. We called them yesterday and said, if you need to bring somebody extra in, it would be great, but we're going to bring a bunch of people tomorrow to eat at Malone's. And the idea is, it's one of the few places within walking distance that actually has an upstairs banquet hall kind of room area. We can put a bunch of people. Everybody goes over there, and you get to hang out and have a few drinks and some pretty good food. So the deal with the sign-ups, if you'll let them know at the registration desk you want to go, we get a general idea of how many people, so we can tell them, hey, it's going to be 40 people, or hey, it's going to be 70, because that might make a major difference to them. So if you don't mind, if you'll check in the registration, let them know. Vintage swag. Ziploc. How long have you been attending conferences?
Well, I'm really not as long as I think.
Oh, okay.
5 years, 6 years.
Okay, so you've been, because of what you've done, and I'm not being accusatory anyway, but...
He was about to call you vintage swag.
Yeah. We're killing Ziploc vintage. You have probably, you're probably pretty close to Scott in the number of conferences you've flown to all over the place, and some very interesting stuff. You did BrewCon, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was the only United States BrewCon one staff member.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm real proud of my BrewCon one staff.
Well, that's why you have a SkyDog staff shirt, because you have to have a good collection. Ziploc and I have a huge collection of con swag. So much so, I had 6 Rubbermaid totes crammed full of con swag. Now, this is from DEF CON, ShmooCon, NauticCon, Freaknik, Outerz0ne, and SkyDogCon. So that's not counting like what I actually have for the con. This is all my personal stuff. So there are T-shirts in here that were purchased at DEF CON, flown back, and put in a box. They've never been unfolded. I mean, directly from the con. So a lot of that stuff. There are a lot of people that come to Outerz0ne that aren't going to be able to fly out to DEF CON and spend $2,000 to go party all weekend or whatever, and then go buy a T-shirt. So what we decided we would do is I would bring out my con swag, and I'm going to go through and sort some things out. And periodically during the day in the registration area, I'm going to throw some stuff out on the table. And it is anywhere from T-shirts to the stuff you end up getting in the bags to the bags. I mean, we've got a collection of unbelievable stuff. So as the day rolls on, as we'll cruise through their check, there's a lot of swag that's really cool that, you know, you're not going to be able to get anymore in a lot of situations where someone handed me something that wasn't available at the con, but, you know, it's a T-shirt from a vendor or something like that you can't get a hold of anymore. I think Ziploc, you brought some?
I didn't bring the actual con official swag because that's the first component. I bought a big box full of vendor shirts that I picked up at DEF CON, Kickin, around the world.
Yeah.
And they're in the car, I'll bring them.
Cool.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I actually, I spent, 4 hours on a Sunday going through all 6 of these totes, sorting out, you know, certain things that I was going to bring out here to let people have. I'm a DEF CON goon, and I have red shirts. Unfortunately, we'll never give a red shirt away. I'm not allowed to give a red shirt away. I have a goon challenge coin. If we ever find a goon T-shirt or a goon challenge coin on eBay, the last time we set our max bid of $1,100 to get a challenge coin back. So that's one of those things where I'd love to give you a goon shirt, and we've actually sat around and talked about getting you one. You have one?
From Nikita.
Oh, okay. That would be why. Suck up. So, yeah, I have goon shirts, but those don't go, guys. But I've got plenty of other really cool stuff I like other people to have. I'm not, if I didn't want it, I could throw it away. I'd rather have other people enjoy it because some of it's really cool stuff. Housekeeping items. Hopefully I wouldn't have to explain this too much to people, but this is something we tell everybody at every con we go to. The 3-2-1 rule. Has anyone ever heard of it? You would, Tim. Anyway, tunnel, 3-2-1, baby. So basically, the 3-2-1 rule is at least 3 hours of sleep, 3 meals a day. Wait a minute, no. 3 hours of sleep a day. I screwed that slide up. At least 3 hours.
You're good at this.
I know. Hey, man, let me tell you. I put a con on, too, in the middle of all this. It's actually not 3 meals a day. It is 3 hours of sleep. At a minimum, get some kind of sleep. Don't party too hard that you can't, like, stay awake because you miss all the fun. Have at least 2 meals a day. The general idea is if you starve yourself to death and you drink some alcohol, that gets into a bad situation, and I would hate to have to bury you.
And one shower.
And 1 shower daily, if you don't mind. The 2 meals thing, Tenacity's here. I think you guys were talking about you might try to help out if you can do one of those. So we're going to see what we can put together for that.
You didn't want to help give a shower?
Yeah, Gene actually is surprisingly gentle.
Oh, for you, Scotty, I'll make 2 showers.
Gene is surprisingly gentle in the shower. I appreciate it. He takes attention to detail.
Wow. That's the one.
I want that piece of video.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Sold that on eBay for $1,200.
So housekeeping items, be respectful.
I think we fucked that up already.
Part of that is be respectful to the hotel. It is not exactly the Four Seasons, but they do let us come in here and kind of do whatever we want. We party, we make a lot of noise. If you don't mind, try not to tear everything up, but be as respectful as possible to the hotel. Also to your fellow man. You know, we all have a tendency to be kind of cutting and humor and sarcasm. So sometimes you catch people off guard. Just make sure you don't attack someone too hard. Also, Ski Boy.
Yeah.
Ski Boy does not understand the concept of sarcasm.
I understand it. Only about
He does not recognize it. So if you mess with him too much and he doesn't quite catch it, it's that's why. So we love him. Take good care of him too.
I love you too.
God, you could have gone all day without saying that in front of everybody. So anyway, follow us on Twitter. The at Outerz0ne is the tag for it. If you're not already on there, we're going to try to send out some trivia things, some goofy stuff, let everybody know what's going on. If anything interesting is happening, which tends to happen. Who actually stayed in the hotel? Who's got a room here? Okay, if you called up to register your room, and when you did that, you told them Outerz0ne, or actually the code was Out12, I don't know why, but it's entirely possible that they did not get that information correct. So one of the ways that we actually are able to do this is we have to make a certain number of room nights. So if 20 people per night, have a room here, we don't have to pay as much for the con space. So it's really important that we get credit for you getting a hotel room here. So if you don't mind, you can go to the registration desk and let them know up there what your room number is. Not that they're going to come to your room in the middle of the night, ski boy. But we'll be able to turn that in, and they'll say, okay, on this particular night, this person is in this room, and we'll get credit for it. We really appreciate if you did that. Or you could, you actually could send it to Miss SkyDog at Outerz0ne.org, and she'll handle the rest of it if you don't want to talk to people at the front desk. Hey, Mudflap, wave. That's Mudflap right over there. We already talked about you, and it was very sweet, we swear.
Also, if you happen to be the other hotel guest, you can have any of the guests and send their book numbers.
I don't know if that works. I'm not sure that it works, but if it does, okay.
Speaking of being nice to the hotel, what's all this about leaving a trail of phone books?
Leaving a trail of phone books? I have no idea, and actually when you get down to it, I don't want to know what it is.
Something involving like
And you've used up one of your 2 questions for the day. So,
So, second one's a doozy.
do what?
Oh, second one's a doozy.
It's, yeah. So what's in store? The agenda. Everyone got their schedule? Who's badged up, got their swag and everything? Who did? Who hasn't? Okay, Adrian, you don't count. So if you go into the registration area, we've got our bits and pieces. You get the schedule, a bag full of little goodies, a water bottle. The water bottles are actually from previous cons. The reason being I had a couple hundred of them in my storage. What am I going to do with water bottles? So instead of having more printed this year, we just brought everything we had. We actually washed everything. It's been in storage, but we washed everything so it's ready for whatever you want to put in it. I don't know what it is. And legally, I don't want to know. Do what?
Vintage swag.
It's vintage swag. Yes, this is from Outerz0ne 4, if you can imagine. And that was one of the years we put everyone's signature on it. So we got started a little bit late this morning. Mine hopefully will be done in just a bit. And then Mad Max is right behind me. If you look on the back of your badge, it actually has the lineup of everybody in sequence. The QR code is to actually go to the web page where the schedule is. Let's see, Iron Geek's going to do one at 1. Tyler Pitchford, Complex Litigation in America. That's supposed to be very interesting. Tripp has been involved in the big tobacco lawsuits and stuff like that. He's also the guy who did Outerz0ne, which is a BitTorrent client. So he's a crazy mix of law and coding. Chris Silvers did a variant of the Hook, Line, and Sinker talk at SkyDog Con. He actually is the one who won the DEF CON social engineering. I think he got first place. But, or second place, I'm sorry, in social engineering. I think he social engineered Apple. So that was a rather interesting one. Slim Jim and Jeremy are going to do IPv4 to IPv6. Slim Jim, what was it? Was it Shmoo that I met you and I had to help carry somebody to a room or something?
Yes, he's now a member of AA.
Oh, good, because he needed that. Slim Jim, we were standing there, I was on staff or whatever, and they were trying to get a guy to the room, and I grabbed his shoulder, he grabbed his shoulder, and we drugged this guy to the room, got him taken care of. And he was like, thanks very much, anything I can do for you, let me know. And I said, well, guess what? You can come talk for me at a conference. So here he is. I think you've done it like 3 or 4 years now, haven't you?
Yeah, that's so.
Yeah. Hey, Ted. Channel 3 or Channel 1, I think it's Channel 3 is actually 2. That's why I keep feedback. So in our history, there have been 2 or 3 different talks that we did not record. One of them was Billy Hoffman. He asked us to turn the camera off before while he did some nefarious things, which Billy is able to do. We've had to turn it off a couple of times because people ask us not to record it because it's entirely possible for them to get into trouble for what they're saying. I think Carlo would appreciate if we didn't, because some of his stuff, he may say something that might not make someone happy. So he asked that we not record his. You got to be here for that one. Another one at 5 p.m. or roundabouts is CP Adam and Jet Ball 55. They're previewing their 0 day, codenamed Stillwater. So I've actually heard what it is. I will not tell you what it is. You have to be here for it, but I can tell you it's going to shake a lot of people up. It's really funny and really cool what they've done. It won't be recorded. You got to be here for it, and please be here for it because it's absolutely awesome. Scott actually did one at SkyDog last year that I would have given my eye teeth to be able to record, but I respected his wishes that he didn't want that one recorded, but it was an absolutely incredible speech, and that's the reason for actually showing up. You can see the videos online, but you miss a lot if you're not here and listening to the translation. 6 p.m., the Hacker Movie Challenge, SkyDog versus CP. When CP was on Nauticon Radio, we were trading back and forth with movie lines, and it got to be a pissing contest, and it was like, well, I can beat you at trivia on hacker movies. So there's actually 5 movies: Tron, Antitrust, Hackers, Sneakers, and holy shit.
And the 5th one.
Yeah, and the 5th one, whatever that was.
War Games.
War Games.
War Games, yes.
That's
Which-
the other trivia question. What 5 movies?
Yeah, I saw War Games. I saw War Games about 30 times in the theater when I was a kid, so that one I'm thinking will win on. So we're actually going to do a hacker movie trivia challenge. There's a trophy for it I had made. So someone's supposed to come up with the trivia questions for it. It may end up just us fist fighting in the middle of the stage, so it'll be fun. Little Scotty Moulton's going to do your camera's worth $300,000 to Microsoft, which sounds like it's going to be an absolutely killer prezo. I got to talk to him about it a little bit, so be there for that one. At 8:30, we're going to do the contest prize giveaway. We're going to wrap it up as quickly as we can this year, and then go grab a bite to eat, and then I'm going to get polluted with alcohol, hopefully. Arts and crafts. Always we've had bits and pieces back in the registration room to play with and things like that. We have tubs full of cool artsy craftsy stuff. We have some contests to do. One of them is decorate your swag, which we have the water bottles, the bag, things like that. If you get bored, you want to go back there. There's plenty of stuff to play with. Make something inventive and creative. It doesn't have to be functional, but it ought to be something interesting. And bring it to one of the staff members, and we'll get pictures of it, or you can take a picture and get it to us so that we can judge it. Excuse me. The other one is the Outerz0ne logo and theme contest. Part of the fun part about doing Outerz0ne is, if you've noticed, I am creative but not artistic. I can come up with a great concept for something, but I am zero artistic when it comes down to it, as evidenced by the front cover. So I can draw a straight line with a ruler and a pen, but there are people out there that are much better at design and everything than I am. So one of our things, what was that supposed to mean?
Just keep going.
All right. So what we would like to do is for someone to design either a logo specifically for Outerz0ne, or every year we've kind of had a different logo or something for the con. If you can come up with a concept for Outerz0ne, just a logo that we can use, that would be great. The theme for next year would be great if someone would come up with that. And we're going to be judging all those if you catch up with this guy, SkyDog. We have one called the Best Advice Award. So a little bit later in this talk, we're going to discuss what is going on with Outerz0ne, which direction we're going. If you've got a great piece of advice, the best one we hear, we're going to give you an award for it, or at least some token of our esteem.
The 8-bit.
Oh yeah, Oh, part of the arts and crafts thing. Who's ever had those little, I hate to say beads around these people, but the little things you put on a set of pins and you put different colors and hit it with an iron and it melts flat. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I can't remember that it's bead making or something. Do what? No, shrinking ink is something entirely different. Basically, we have huge tubs of Legos, these beads. You actually put them in, arrange them in sort of 8-bit pixel fashion. Lay a piece of material across the top and hit it with an iron, and it melts them together. I have an 8-year-old who had an absolute blast doing it. Oddly enough, a 16-year-old that enjoyed it. You got to be able to come up with something neat. I enjoyed it too. That's some fun with it. So we've got that. We've got the Lego contest. We've done that before. We've got a huge tub full of Legos. You want to build something, snap some pictures of it so you can get it to us. Or if you can't already, catch us in there and we'll take a picture of it. We'll be judging that one. We have one called the Reboot Outerz0ne Viral Video Contest. We have in our midst, a celebrity. We don't? We don't have anyone in our midst that's a celebrity. So anyway, no, there is a, do what?
Go ahead and talk about it. That's hilarious.
Oh. We have someone who has done some great work, and we wanted to do what we could do to help out. There is a movie that's going to be coming out called Reboot, and it stands to be, I think, kind of on the level with Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. What I've seen of it's really interesting. We have a QR code that we've got on phone board. What we want everybody to do is to shoot small segments of video so that we can combine those together, or not me, because I suck at that, but we're going to send those in for them to be combined together to make a viral video. So it's Reboot in Outerz0ne. So we actually have several copies of the QR code. If you'll shoot snippets of video with your iPhone and things like that, and you can get that to us, we're going to have a contest to see who does the best one. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I would just add that there is a Reboot film website now with a trailer to the film. If you're not at all familiar with it, you might want to look at the trailer and get some general impressions, so you might have a more reflective opinion when you do your viral videos if you choose to. It's Reboot _film.
The QR code that we have is, if you shoot that, it takes you to the website, and the trailer is on it. I would have brought it in to play, but I don't trust the network. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see it. So, if you get a chance, check that out.
Is this an appropriate time to mention the other thing that Garland mentioned?
What was the other thing? You can mention whatever you want. You have a
Inside
microphone.
the trailer and on the website, there are various Easter eggs.
Yes.
Some of these Easter eggs will lead you to an unadvertised, unpublished, well, a secret game. You can only find the game if you find the right Easter eggs or if you're told about it. And word of mouth is obviously welcome. But once inside the game, it's not a typical hacker game, but it is a hacker game. The first, I'll say as much as the first 3 levels are involved with JPEGs. You might find things in there by using GIMP or Photoshop, or you might find things in there with steganography or whatever. But it's that type of a game in advanced levels. And the top 10 scorers, whenever we decide to close out the competition, the top 10 scorers will win home strike. But, if you're interested in promoting us here with a viral video, you might want to check out the trailer, although that's not required. It's fun without the trailer, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen the trailer, and it's really awesome.
Yeah.
I want to see it.
Yeah. The girl that comes to with the phone glued to her hand.
Yeah, super glued and taped to her hand.
Yeah.
And,
it takes off from there. Get a chance to watch the video because it was one of those where I kept running it back and looking at different pieces again. Now I know why I was doing that. So
it's going to be streamed at that time.
yeah, absolutely. That's going to be awesome. I'm going to try to scoot through the rest of this really quick. What's in store? Parties. They'll be in the breakout room where the registration area is. They'll be tonight. Unless you have one in your room, then you might want to tell everybody. On the back of the badge, this is something I started doing with my badges. My room number, if you are too inebriated to remember that, or we find you and we have to take you to your room, it would be really nice if you had your room number on there. But for security purposes, I understand if you don't want to put it there. The room numbers to remember is, hey man, you got to come to my room, blah, we're having a party later on, so you can write that number down and keep track of it. Let's see, dinner, we've got loans tonight, sign up, breakfast. A lot of us will go to IHOP tomorrow. It's kind of become a tradition. We lock up an IHOP on Sunday morning. So we'll go out there and take over one of their rooms and try to eat something that will combat everything we drank the night before. So anyway, my talk, which I'm going to zip through. Outerz0ne 101, the entrance to Outerz0ne. I'm Professor SkyDog for our little adventure here today. So, introduction of the Outerz0ne icons. Originally, Outerz0ne was started with 5 people. I think it's correct. 5 people in 4 different states, and was put together in under 2 weeks. So you can see my reputation for doing this in short-term notice. Lady Merlin, Pres Mike, Joe Klein, myself. I know I'm missing somebody. I know Rattle was involved. No, Decode was ancillarily involved, I believe, at some point. But there was, so there's like a group of 5 of us that got to talking about it and decided to start Outerz0ne. There are some other people that have been fixtures. Scott, of course, is one of those fixtures, or you can call him a knob, whatever. Ziploc, you've been here for many years, I know. There are a lot of people that are just kind of a staple, a standard. You can ask them about a lot of the stuff about Outerz0ne. Is Strick up today? I don't see him in here yet.
Not yet.
Yeah. Strick is another person who's been involved from the beginning. Billy Hoffman, he'll be here later on today. So there are a bunch of people who have been here pretty much from the start. Who was here at like Outerz0ne 1 or 2, 3, somewhere in that range? Kerbob, Ted. So yeah, it started off as a teeny tiny conference and grew to a small conference, something like that. So the history of Outerz0ne starts out with us 5 people. The reason is there is a gentleman in town named Rand Smith, I believe is the correct name. His hacker handle was Rocket. And Rocket put on a conference called Outerz0ne, INTERZ0NE, which is kind of funny because mine's called Outerz0ne G. I was somewhat creative, but not much with that one. So I showed up at Outerz0ne 2. Mirage and I were in Nashville. He said, man, you want to run down there? And this is back when I was younger and would jump in a car and go do anything at the drop of a hat. So we drove from Nashville down here to check everything out. There wasn't a ton of stuff going on, but there were some, a decent number of people hanging out, and it was my first introduction to Outerz0ne and Rocket and everybody involved with that. I think I'm having a hard time finding anything about the website on Archive. For some reason, archive.org doesn't have anything. I went to 2, I think at Outerz0ne 3, or at Outerz0ne 2 was where Billy Hoffman released his information on Blackboard. He got his first cease and desist. So, I think it was Virgil was with him too. Virgil and Billy both released that. They got the first cease and desist. So, I bust your cherry, what can you say? Outerz0ne 3, I think I went to that one. And I think Outerz0ne 4, around that was when we actually decided that we weren't really keen on how things were going. What took place was the price to get into Outerz0ne at that point was like $100 or $120, some outrageous fee. The reason it was that expensive was Rand was trying to grow everything at a much accelerated rate. So he had like rented most of the hotel, every bit of con space they had, and he had to charge an arm and a leg, but he really wasn't bringing the content to justify that because, last year, what DEFCON was 150, 160 bucks. When I first started going, it was around $100. Well, this was like 6 years ago. So he was trying to get an entry fee into that, but really wasn't bringing the quality. And we felt Brand wasn't doing it for the love of the game. He was doing it to make a profit. Now, there's something to be said for that. But the thing was, he had asked people to help him, and he didn't reciprocate, take good care of them. He kind of walked on some people, and someone said, screw this. Why don't we just go there and have a party? Okay, sounds like a plan. And someone said, hey, why don't we have our own little con there? We'll just do it, got a bunch of people, we'll get a room together and have a party and have a con, and we can do talks. So if you can imagine, the first year, we rented a suite. Joe Klein actually fit the bill for it. I showed up, and this is in the 2-week period. We made badges, registered a domain name, put everything together, and showed up in force and had a con. And there were like 35 people that show up to this thing. So at that point, it's just a joke. We're all sitting around doing talks and drinking. Apparently, that's a common theme with this con. So we do our little deal, and kind of to Grant, which was kind of neat. The back of the badge, you had the front, it says attendee and everything. I've got some, at the house. You flipped around the back, and it was a little picture thing. It was basically pointing at you and a rocket on the bottom. And it was, I really regret that now because it was just the meanest thing I think I've ever done to somebody. Because I was having a conversation with him, and that part of the badge was flipped around, and he could see it because he was about that tall. So I actually have the only picture I know of a rocket that was ever taken. I couldn't find it beforehand, but I snapped a picture, and I think, to the best of my knowledge, I've got the only one out there. But anyway, the evolution of it. It started with one room, guys sitting around. Everybody said, dude, this is cool, let's do it again. And I think, really? Okay, sure, we'll do it again. So the second year, we actually met in a regular hotel room, not a suite. We took all the furniture and piled it in one corner. I went at lunch and got a bunch of McDonald's cheeseburgers, walked in and tossed them on one of the beds everyone was sitting on, and we just had our little con inside of a con thing happening. It grew and mutated from that to like Outerz0ne 3, where I actually bought some con space. And this is when there was a divergence. Rand didn't do Outerz0ne after that. It basically became enough of a money suck that he couldn't make it happen anymore, so he stopped. And at that point, there's no reason to try to do it at the same hotel, so everyone said, well, let's do it again. Well, at that point, what do you do except turn around and start renting out conference space and having a con? So it kind of went from there. That was 3. We're now at Outerz0ne 8, so you can see there were a few years where we had it, we actually did it legitimately. We've been at this hotel for 3 or 4 years now or something like that. So until they throw us out or we have to find a different venue, we're kind of here. Which brings us around to the challenges of current state. There are certain bits and pieces about Outerz0ne that kind of are in flux. You see, there's the SkyDog Con flyer and the graphics that are for Outerz0ne. Guess which one I put together? You can tell. There are things like the website. Yeah, it got put up 30 days prior to the conference. 30? Huh? No, seriously. It didn't have shit on it for 10 days.
But it was up.
The site was up. I get credit. The site was up.
Hey, I could visit it with links and it would look great.
Yeah.
You did that to get you to stop nagging.
Yeah, I did.
Did it work?
I actually had some pictures that I was going to put in here. I went from, just recently, from an 820 square foot house to a 3,300 square foot house. And if you can imagine, I had enough shit to fill an 800 square foot house floor to ceiling with toys. So we've been in the process of putting our families together and moving all of my stuff and throwing a lot of it away, much to my chagrin and making her much happier. But, so I've been juggling a lot of stuff. We've been working on SkyDog Con. We've been working on the Hacker Consortium, the Makerspace that's in Nashville. I work for a large southern university. I do kids, houses. Whoever owns a house, you realize they fall apart on a regular basis. So we have to mess with that. And you know what? Grass continues to grow no matter what you do to it, unless you just tear it up. So
Roundup.
there's always a lot of stuff going on. You what? Roundup?
Twice your lawn with corn.
Do what?
Twice your lawn with cornfield.
Well, actually, we have a much better thing. It's a lot of it's concrete. That was one of the appeals of this place. There's a huge drive out front. It was like, I don't have to mow that section. Yeah, we're up for that. That'll work.
And a 16-year-old.
Yeah, a 16-year-old. Which, if you have kids, you have to realize as soon as they can get their arms up to push the push mower, it's time for them to start. One of the problems that, or the challenges, the queries that we have at this point is, where are we at with everything? Outerz0ne isn't me. I'm just a guy who makes all this stuff come together in one general area. So Outerz0ne is you guys, right? It's the speakers, it's the attendees, because honestly, I'm only entertaining for about 30 minutes and I'm 45 minutes into this. So you guys are giggling and laughing just to be nice. So I'm not Outerz0ne, I'm just the guy who gets everybody together, puts up a shitty website, does some goofy graphics, and says, hey, come on down, let's party. It's the attendees and the speakers that actually make it happen. So I'm only deciding what takes place merely by someone saying, hey, you know what would be cool, why don't we do blah? I'm filling the link for blah, and if blah costs less than what I've got in my line, then we can talk about what we're doing. You're over here giggling because you know the exact same thing. You go, that would be cool. If I had my budget. So basically what we're trying to get down to now is what is Outerz0ne and what do you want it to be? So if I was independently wealthy, and trust me, I've dreamed of this many, many times, we would be at the Four Seasons right now. You would be sipping champagne or Cristal. Do what?
That's right. They won't let us in.
Yeah, well, with enough money, they probably would.
Well, I don't know if we've got that much.
Well,
They're like, party? Nah, fucking money.
Yeah. If I had the cash, we'd be drinking wine, we'd have Bacardi, caviar, whatever you wanted, we'd be doing that. We would have the coolest gear available. We'd be playing with everything possible. But, contrary to popular belief, I am not independently wealthy. I am not dirt poor, but I worked really hard not to be dirt poor, to be moderately, okay, I have enough money, I was able to drive down here, but I was standing at the pump going, shit, that's expensive. So, because the way this is actually put together, Outerz0ne is paid for out of our pockets. With SkyDog and myself, it's basically one of those things where we're looking at what's going on, what are we going to do, what can we spend on swag and things like that. There is no Outerz0ne bank account where there's this big chunk of change and we have a credit card and we buy things out of. It literally is just directly out of our bank accounts. Scott is also the exact same way. He is the person who is responsible for booking the hotel, getting the dates. It's his fault. I'm just kidding. So Scott is actually responsible for that. If we don't get enough room count, he's on the line theoretically to pay the tab on the hotel. So there isn't like some huge organization that makes all this happen. It's like, yeah, you know what? If you don't put the fucking website up, I'm going to choke you. And I say, yes, dear, I'll put the website up. And then she tells me for the 6th time to put it up because you guys send emails to me and then you send them to her and she responds to you and then tells me to do it. So basically, Outerz0ne is you guys. You tell me what you want to do. And here's some of the things that we've got to kind of look at. The size that we're at. About 100 people show up to Outerz0ne. 100, 150, depending on what's going on. Schizophrenic people, we don't count those. You're on your own. It's only body counts that we're looking for. Some people have said, hey, can you make it larger? Well, yeah, absolutely I can. if you look at SkyDog, it has the entire infrastructure to do a full, several thousand person conference without a problem. But that also requires a lot more money, a lot more things up front. With what we've done, we're probably in for about $3 grand right now. And that is not, like I say, out of some, nefarious bank account. That's on a credit card. That's out of my pocket. It's, stuff like that. So if we want to grow Outerz0ne, it requires that we probably start selling tickets beforehand. We have a system in place called Ticket Leap that we use for SkyDog. It works wonderfully, but we'd actually have to sell tickets. One of the appeals of Outerz0ne is if you show up and you want to donate, cool. If you don't have to. If you didn't, you showed up and you're like, you know what? This isn't worth the shit. I can't believe I bought a ticket. Well, you didn't buy a ticket. You didn't have to donate. So, you're not on the hook for buying anything. That's the way we like it. If you enjoy it, throw some cash in the container. One of the things about the con, the way that we put it together, is a lot of guys that show up rode in the back of someone's vehicle. Hey man, can I go with you? They show up. They're eating cheese and crackers to survive. They don't have any money to throw in the donation tank. That's cool. We all had to start somewhere, so I don't expect them to be able to pay for it, but I expect them to come out and have a good time. So if you're standing there and the guy next to you is looking at his, handful of change trying to figure out what he's going to do, throw some extra in if you've got it. Help somebody out. Help them get their start. That's kind of what we've tried to do with what we're doing here. So, do we want to grow it? Do we want to go to a different hotel? This one lets us do damn near anything. The last time we were in the SkyDog hotel, once we hit the door, they looked at us and went, yeah, we really can't have big parties. During the negotiations, we were good, but right then and there, they went, I don't think so. So if we go to a larger hotel, what do? We have the ability to do things here. Do we want to grow it? Do we want to keep it the same size? One of the things on the back of the T-shirt, I think, is 8 enough. Yeah, or 8 is enough. Who knows who Vic Tayback is? Okay, where's Zipline? Did you know, Tim? Okay. So the line is 8 enough. Have we done it enough? Do we want to keep going? It's you guys. I'll show up every year and do this. I don't care. I have a good time doing it. But what do we want to do? Do we continue on? Do we stop here? Do we grow? Do we get smaller? Do you like the swag? All these things are all questions that we want to ask you guys. And you don't have to answer me right now because it would take a lot longer. But over the course of the day, come talk to us. Well, we have the best advice contest. You come up with what you think is the best advice for what we ought to do. Let us know. So, what is Outerz0ne? What you do.
On the last point, we at CarolinaCon we kind of run into the same thing, and everyone thinks it's kind of an easy question. Do we want to get bigger? Do we want to limit it?
Yeah.
But the problem is people say, well, we'd like to keep it a small group.
Yeah.
But what they don't understand is, okay, to keep it a small group, that means we have to stop people from coming to the con.
Oh, putting a limit on the
Yeah. So to keep it small, we need to put some kind of a limit. So that means you may come to the con, but your friends may not be able to make it.
Yeah.
So now suddenly, is it a good idea to keep it small, or do you want to, let anyone in?
Yeah.
So it's not. It seems like an easy question, but it's not.
Unless you do the ShmooCon thing, which is just, that's it, no more.
Yeah, who's been to Schmook?
Yeah, and that's what everyone complains about.
Right, exactly, I agree.
So the model that ShmooCon did, the first year they did it, they invited all of their friends, and then they called other people, and it was like, 1,000 people standing there. Everybody went, wow, this is pretty cool. And then those 1,000 people said, hey, you should come to ShmooCon. Everybody said, what? That'll be really cool. And then ticket sales, I think they sold 500 tickets in like 12 seconds.
Yeah.
Literally, they have a bank of servers that they custom wrote code for that operate really at maximum potential for 1 hour a year. And it literally will crash them on a regular basis. It's become so popular because there's only 1,500 tickets available to the con, and everybody wants to go. And then the crux of the situation is you don't get a ticket, your buddy gets to go. Fucking ShmooCon sucks, man.
Exactly.
And they're standing there going, well, we have one of the largest venues in Washington, D.C. You can't find the space to put it on. So then what you end up with is then you're being elitist scumbags or something because you're only letting a certain number of people in. So if you guys, you go back to the house, you sit down in front of the computer, you're cruising and everything, we actually sit down, all the con organizers will get together and go, man, this is, what do we do about this? Because I've sat and had conversations with Heidi and Bruce about the direction they were doing, with ShmooCon. It's, what do we do? Because everybody's wanting us to make it larger, but if it's larger, we lose that small con feel, which is one of the things, ShmooCon I absolutely love because it's a smaller conference really when you get down to it. It's one of the higher end conferences you're going to go to, but it's really a nice intimate feel. So a lot of that is something that we have to kind of deal with on a regular basis. Which direction we go? What do we do? Can we keep everybody happy? And everyone said, I can't believe you put it on this date.
Right.
The funny part about that is I have nothing to do with the date. This guy over here in the forensic unit hat is the one who picked the date. And do you know what that's based on? It is not based on astrological charts.
When the hotel has
It's based on when I'm not on an airplane.
Yeah.
That's the only thing it's based on.
This is the only weekend in this month that Scotty Moulton is not on an airplane and he is in this state. Ta-da! I got a phone call. It's like, all right, the dates are this. Okay, I'll put them on the website. That's literally how that gets decided. I have nothing to do with that part. What are you gonna?
As another guy that also organizes the con, I gotta say it's awfully difficult nowadays to be able to find a weekend that's free from any other kind of
Or
access security event or hotel for that matter.
Yeah.
You got to reserve hotel space so far ahead of time, so it's kind of hard to balance out. And does anybody remember the name of project hackercons.org that has basically a list of different conferences?
Deviant, I think, is involved in that one.
Yeah, check it out with Deviant, and he points you in the right direction. But yeah, it's hard to schedule something and not.
And then if you get it when it's not on another con setting, you get it on Mother's Day.
Yeah, okay. You put it on Mother's Day, or you put it on the same weekend as another conference in the same town, and you try to explain to them why you did that, and then you get in trouble for that. So it's absolutely impossible to please everybody with what day you put it on, or where you're going to have it.
Well, and then also, once you start to get larger, like we ran into this year, we had to find the only hotel in the area that would hold over 300 people.
Yeah.
Well, now we're at the Hilton.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see how that ends up this year with the parties and everything else. So, but you pay premium. We're paying $1,000 a night for the room.
Yeah.
So it's hard for us to. Are we still going to charge $20 a person for a full weekend? So, and for you,
Yeah.
So that gets tough also.
Yeah. One of the things we've run into with SkyDog Con is you pay X number of dollars. What's my return for you? I got swag, I got events, I got food for you to eat, things like that. I mean, what am I giving back to you? Because I don't want to give you nothing for your money. I want you to get something in return to be able to say, look what I got. This is the things I did. So we battle with that all the time too. Yours is bang for the buck. Well, you get a decent piece of swag and a badge and everything. That $20 is gone like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which brings us to what's wrong with profit. Honestly, nothing's wrong with profit. I don't think that there's a problem with making a profit on a conference if it's meant to be a profit-based conference, as long as you give the attendees the best bang for their buck that you can give them and still make it out alive. So, I don't think that the model of, it's altruistic, I have to lose money is a great thing to do because honestly, I don't have a ton of it sitting around. I do this for fun, but if you sit down with Scott and say, Scott, what do you think about the Outerz0ne model? Scott will go, he is out of his fucking mind. Why does he do this? Because Scott's a businessman. We've had conversations, and Scott goes, I don't know why you're doing that. And I go, it's just the way I want to do stuff. And he goes, yeah, okay. So profit's not bad. It's not really the direction we're set up for. And yeah, we went after Rand because of what he was trying to do with it. But I'm not trying to turn this into a profit center, so don't think that we're trying to grow it to make more money. That's not what we're looking for. the con within a con. We actually, it was coined the con within a con by Rattle. We theoretically, in the hacker con circuit, are the origin of the con within a con, which I hate to actually think that I'm notorious for something, but if it's okay, whatever. The con within a con. The second iteration of that was bar camp and food camp. Bar camp was, or what was it? No, it was food camp, I think, and they started to get selective, and you couldn't show up unless you were a developer, you did this or that, so they started bar camp. They said, screw you, do your own thing. That was the second iteration. Who knows what the third iteration is?
B-sides.
B-sides. Holy cow, it was like, hey, B-sides, you're showing up for $4,000 to Black Hat. Guess what? We're going to go sit by a pool, get totally plastered, and hear the exact same talk, because the guy's going to get off stage, shake hands, get in a car, go get his swimsuit, and sit by the pool and do his talk. So which one do you want to do? So ask me how many people you think go to Black Hat because their company pays for it, but just show up and get their little bag of stuff and then go get plastered by the pool of B-sides. I mean, what can you say? Let's see. Do what? What'd you say? Oh, come on, get it on already. So the evolution, we had the collapse of Outerz0ne, the debate about whether we do a real con versus a small con. We have our current model is the no cash, no pay. If you don't like it, you don't have to pay. I made that decently small, didn't I?
It's funny how the words that are don't pay are the small ones.
Go get your bifocals, man. So, kind of the way that we've done it, and we feel good about doing it is, if you don't have any food, we'll help you get some food. We'll find you something. If you're young, you don't have any cash. Last night we had a box full of Rice Krispie treats. Miss SkyDog put together Kit Kats. I think Strick ate a Rice Krispie treat with a Kit Kat on top of it. I'm not sure how that was, but it sounded like it was pretty good. No lodging. If you got no place to stay, we will figure out a way to get you in a hotel room or something somewhere or another. You might be crashed on the floor with somebody else. They'll step over you on the way to the bathroom. No transportation. Okay, we have ride sharing. Hey, I need a ride. Where are you at? A lot of people will say, hey, I'm coming by that area. If you could be ready to go at this time, I'll take you, pick you up and take you around. I skipped around in some of this, which I'm prone to do from time to time. Do you want to keep it donation based? Do you want to go for the pay model? It's up to you guys. Staying small. Do we want to get bigger? We want to stay here? What do we want to do? Finding the time. I am probably one of the busiest guys I know, just short of what Scott does. I think Scott stays awake and works harder than I do, and it scares me to think of that. He is constantly chucking and jiving and making things happen. I need people to actually help me. Somebody do the website. Somebody come up with a theme. If you want to come out, Carlo got drafted into running AV along with Ted. Yeah, we've had a lot of people say, "Hey, I'll do the website for you." Well,
it's fun to watch you do the website.
Yeah, these guys. This SkyDog said, "You're not doing the website again." No, you're not. You're not. So I said, "No, honey, I can put something up." She goes, "No, you're never doing the website again." And I said, "Okay." Who clapped? Man, y'all are cruel. So we went to a company
well, that's
in
funny
town.
because no one's doing it.
Do what? Yeah, wherever you get out, no one's really putting the Outerz0ne website up.
Outerz0ne, the BBS.
We went to a group in Nashville and said, "Hey, here's the deal. We need a website. We need some identity. Will you do it for us?" And they said, "Sure." And then they told us what it would cost, and I went, "Oh!" And she said, "Look, let them do it. You don't have the time to do it. You suck at it when you do it, and everyone knows you suck at it. So I know I suck. You know I suck. Okay." So a lot of people have. Do what?
And then you get a little offended
Oh,
when
yeah.
it's not so good.
Okay, try. I don't use front page. So So we need somebody that is artistic, that actually has the time. And we understand, we've had people say, I'll do the website. But stuff happens in your life too. You know, well, I got married, we had a kid, and I don't have time to do it. Well, if you say you're going to do it, and I don't do it, and then you come back and say, well, I can't do it, guess what? You get to do it again, and it's going to stop. So we need to find someone who will actually do the website and take care of that. People who want to get involved, who can devote some time to it and know they can devote some time. I'd be thrilled with that because, you know, the last thing you want is me to actually do the website again. We actually were discussing, I have the long list of the things that I actually do with my time, but it's boring, I swear. So we have the staff, a lot of people who are kind of the standard people that show up every year, and Carlo came in one day, said, hi, I'm Carlo, I was in one of Scott's classes, and I said, hi, and if you'll have a seat right here, this is the video rig. And turn this on, and he went, what? He didn't realize Scott brought him in, but Scott said, hey, here's Carlo, he's going to work. So he is now he's a core team member of SkyDog. He's actually in charge of getting our corporate sponsorship. So he walked in and said hi, and then I just, you know, assimilated him. He's been in ever since. So
Sure.
Love you though, man. So we have kind of the standard complement of staff, which we went through. We have a few people. I think, Ted, you sat still too long, and you got drafted into being part of staff. We do some extra shirts and extra badges and everything. Hey, come here for a minute. Okay, hold this up. Here's a shirt. Here's a badge. You're in charge of it. We have no problem with people who want to be involved and want to help out. We love it. If you can commit some time. We have the sponsors, the nice little banner right here. My hard drive died. Somewhere right inside that's little Scotty Moulton over here. Top Dog Data Recovery. Of the three, this has got to be the funnest data recovery company. That's Carlo with the getbackmyporn.com. I think you got some stickers you brought, right? Okay. If you really want to freak out the people at your office, put one of those on your laptop. Top Dog LLC is actually the company that puts on SkyDog. It's Robin and I. And it's a couple of the other logos up here. The Hacker Consortium is actually where a lot of the, like the stand I have here, all that was created. So there's a lot of different groups come together. We have Tenacity. They were the first actual real corporate sponsorship that we got, which was like, holy cow, we're kind of somewhat legitimate. And then they said, where do we send the check? And you go, geez, where do you send the check? DC949, we've got Tool with Deviant, Iron Geek, of course, SkyDog. We try to and not everybody on this little banner up here has given us cash or anything. It's the people who have supported us by giving us swag or coming out and giving us a hand with things, or just being really cool. So, yeah. So we also have the attendees and speakers. You guys are actually what makes Outerz0ne happen. Let's see. We're the longest running donation-based conference that we know of. If there's another one, let us know so we can apologize. But to the best of our knowledge, we are the longest running. We're looking for our long-term identity. That's kind of what this is about, figuring out what we're doing, where we're going. Whatever you want it to be, it's your con. I'm not going to tell you we can't do it unless it's so expensive I can't make it happen. We were talking about doing Outerz0ne origami. And the easiest way, we kind of put this together. Has anybody got like a 20 in their pocket?
Yeah.
Okay, go put it in the original.
Yeah.
If you'll take that lengthwise, here, we'll do this. If you fold it in half, this is a very important origami, and you'll fold it one more time, it's just the right diameter to go into the donation bucket in the back in here. So that's our version of Outerz0ne origami. Yes, sir?
I might add to the Outerz0ne or appropriately priced so you can drop your change in the job.
Yes. That's not really by design, but it works really well like that, doesn't it? Yes, sir.
I thought you been making beautiful things out of a bunch of squares.
Again, there is an origami set back there, but you have seen the program. I am not creative. I don't do origami. If Strages is here, he's wonderful at it. I suck at all that. But anyway. So Donations are can be made in registration. I don't know if you'll see some people. Staff have blue badges. Speakers have red. If you talk to Amy at registration, what we decided to do is, if you want to be a sponsor, if you'll give $40 or more, we'll give you a sponsor badge, which has your name on it. It's great. It says, hey, I ponied up some cash. Maybe you did that to help out the guy next to you who couldn't pay. Whichever one that is, we wanted to say thank you for that. We want to have everyone's name on the website. Yes, I will update the website. And we also want to have it in the closing talks to say thank you. One of our contests this year is a trivia quiz. Little known facts about staff and sponsors of Outerz0ne. A little while they'll be available back in the registration area. So some trivia that you have to answer to win the contest. So anywho, enjoy your con. We appreciate you coming out. I'm going to get off stage. Sign up on Twitter so we can send some things out. T-shirts are available from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock, which should be fairly soon. Registration closes at 4. Like you guys turn in every project on time. Registration closes at 4 around the house there. Arts and crafts in the registration area. Sign up for dinner at Malone's. If you can, make breakfast in the morning. If you're too hungover, we understand. I think checkout is at 11, so buyer beware. We also have a tradition of going to Fry's on Sunday afternoon. If you're not from around Atlanta, it's a treat. If you are from Atlanta, well, screw you. I don't have a Fry's. Every time I come out here, we have to make the trek. Robin sits in the car or wanders around the store and drinks a cup of coffee while I ooh and ah and touch everything in every aisle. So if you've never been to Fry's, it is like a Walmart for electronic toys. So go with us. It's a lot of fun. So, guys, thanks for coming out. Appreciate it very much. Sorry for starting as late as we did. I figure about 10 will actually.